Hey folks, I have a monitor in for possible repair. It's this Starlogic square monitor that my friend SOCOM Seal 93 gave me to see if I can repair for his dad. So we're gonna try. I have a computer booted up. I was gonna check a hard drive while at the same time using this monitor to do it to see what was going on. Well, it's looking more like I can't use the monitor to really check it because when I turn it on, it's just white. It doesn't do anything else. It's just white. So it looks almost like the monitor is receiving the signal, but it's not relaying the signal to the screen. I've seen this before. And believe it or not, in one of Max Arcade's videos, I saw a TV doing this, where it was just a white screen. So I'm hoping it's not one of those little tiny MOSFETs like what happened in his. So hopefully it's just caps or something. I'm going to try a DVI cable as well and see what happens. I'm pretty sure it'll do the same thing, but since it's receiving a signal, but it, obviously there's something wrong with this monitor. This is a Starlogic monitor, so you can tell it's cheap right off the bat because Starlogic is not a name brand at all. It's probably one of those cheap no-name Chinese monitors that even I purchased back in the day. It's not a bad monitor feature-wise. It's a 19-inch TFT display. There's the model number right there. It's an MJ9ABK. They call VGA PC in, which I find weird. It's just your typical monitor. It has VGA, DVI, and built-in speakers, apparently. I'm willing to bet the built-in speakers are bad. I don't even know where the speakers are. So, let's see if I can mess with this and make it work somewhat. Yeah, even when I press the menu buttons, I get absolutely nothing. So, I don't think a video signal is going to the screen, even though the screen is turned on, and the monitor board itself is receiving a signal. It only knows to turn the screen's backlight on, but not show anything. This is literally what you're seeing. It's just the backlight, it looks like, and nothing else. So, looks like I got some digging to do. Well, folks, I took the panel out. It's a hands-free panel, in case you guys were curious. Yeah, there you go. You can tell this is a cheap monitor just by that. It's a Handstar panel. It's a TFT display. So, it's a pretty cheap display, but the panel works fine. The boards, however, are another story. I see one bulging capacitor already. That one right there. Right there, that one is bulging. All the rest of them aren't bulging, but they need to be changed anyway because they're just crap capacitors. These purple ones here, they're all Fujiu capacitors, which are horrible to begin with. A few of these here, I forget what those are. Do they even have a brand on them? It's hard to see, the other cap's in the way. Yeah, I'll worry about that later. The ones on this main board are GSC and Everon. I'm not that familiar with those. What I'm going to do is I'm going to recap the power supply board. And then I'm going to order the caps for all the boards, but if I'm going to recap the power supply board first, and if that fixes the problem, I'll go ahead and try to fix this. What I'm hoping is that, you know how the display was white? I'm hoping that the culprit isn't this little guy down here. Really, really hoping it isn't, because I have no experience whatsoever with surface mount soldering. I am not good at it, because I've never done it. I've done it once. I did it on a graphics card, but even then, I don't have the equipment for it, so I'd have to get equipment to be able to do so. But yeah, this thing has some pretty crap caps in it. I guess, looks like Emax made the power supply board. There's a date code right there. 0605, so 2005. There you go. Looks like I have some capacitors to order and repairs to do. So I'm going to recap the entire power supply, just because the caps they used were cheap and horrible. And hopefully the logic board is good. If the logic board's bad, I'll recap that as well. and hopefully I don't have to deal with a tiny transistor or a little MOSFET. So yeah, there you have it. The first sign is that capacitor there bulging compared to the other two. Funny enough, the Fuji capacitors look fine. These don't. That's what a Fuji capacitor looks like, for those of you that are wondering. That's what you look for. So, yeah. Further along in the repair, I'll check back. Alright, you guys saw an earlier video of this. I'm down in the workshop with my desoldering iron and my soldering iron, and we're going to get to work on this thing. As you know, these have horrible capacitors in them. Hermai and Fuji. First I'm going to start with the power supply. Then I'm going to do the logic board. The logic board might not need it, but I've bought caps just in case it does. So I'm going to start by recapping the power supply and getting rid of this piece of junk cap here. So, desoldering iron at the ready. Let's do it. Okay, I got the boards out. Here's the Emax power supply board with all its crappy capacitors. And the logic board, which actually looks pretty good to me. Looks beautiful, so I might not even have to touch this if I get the power supply board working. So there you go. Alright, I've recapped the power supply. These are all the old caps from the power supply. Here's the big old filter cap. 100 microfarad, 400 volt cap. All these over here are Hermai caps. All the rest of these were these crappy Fuji capacitors. Those things are horrible. And indeed they were. So I put the panel back in, plugged it in. I'll give you guys a little look at the board after I finish all the soldering. I'm not going to lift it up too much because, hold on. Alright, I'm holding the panel up with some clippers. Show you the inside here. Here's the power supply board that I redid. I forgot to film a video earlier, so I'm showing you now. I did not end up recapping the monitor's logic board. That board looked completely fine. I don't have to do a damn thing to it. So all that was really wrong was this Emax power supply. So there you go. Look at that big filter cap. That's the 100 microfarad 400 volt cap that they use as a filter. I used a twisty to hold it down since it flops around a little bit. And there you go. There's more of the Nichicon PW series caps I used all over this board. Looks like it worked pretty well. The reason I didn't just take the panel out again is because these high voltage connectors for the backlight are a pain in the ass to plug back in. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it that all the caps are resoldered in. You can even see back there a few of them soldered in. And there you go. I decided not to recap the logic board and just test it with the power supply for now. So let's plug it in and see if my repair work paid off. Okay, the monitor's plugged in. All back together. Let's see if this paid off. Ha ha ha! Yeah. No more white. I actually get a disconnect one. That is pretty sweet. So now we just need to plug it into a computer and test it for a while. Alright, I have a haphazard setup here. Here's the workshop PC. I have the monitor plugged into it. And we're going to see if it works. So let's turn the monitor on. We get RGB. We get a no input signal thingy. Let's turn the computer on. What do we get? Hey! We have a working monitor. That's what we have. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Let's at least let it boot into Linux so we can make sure that it can handle changing resolutions and everything just fine. Yeah, looks like it's working just fine. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, this monitor is working fine now. So it looks like all that was wrong with it was the power supply. And those craptastic Fuji capacitors. And the, I forget what the other ones were. Himalaya or something like that. Yes, we have a working monitor. Excellent. So now, SOCOM SEAL 93 can come pick up his monitor. Let me see if I can log in here. I don't have a keyboard plugged in. Never mind. But hey, it works. Awesome. Shut it off with the keyboard. Or the power button. We have a working monitor. Awesome. And it says no input signal now instead of whatever it was saying before. So, working monitor. Successful repair? Yes.